this new highway. Also, the Eastern Corridor Highway that they've been working on for some years. So it also crosses the Adomi Bridge. So we had a very good vantage point for travelers and people that are passing or coming to visit Akasumbo Dam, or also coming to visit the Adomi Bridge, or just to cross the Adomi. The Adomi Bridge is one of the biggest attractions in Ghana. It's on some of the currency, as well as it's a major attraction that, let's say, also draws people into the area, as well as Akasumbo Dam, which is attracts 60,000 people over the summer. So we were very fortunate to get a vantage point here at there that I lease out for people to stay at, and I use it as a transitional housing for those that are moving into my area. You know, it's in the African diaspora community. Excuse me. And those are some of the services that I've been creating since I've been living in Ghana, which was in I moved first, repatriated, and moved to Ghana with my mother, Brenda Karima Muhammad, Brenda Karima Muhammad, who's now an ancestor since 2018. But we moved here in 2009. We moved here together, and she began to establish a residence. She had already started building a chalet in 2006, 2007, excuse me, and completed it, I think, in 2009. Or she built it in 2009, in 2000, something like that. So she was able to complete it in a very short time. It's just initially was just a small dwelling, so which was a chalet, in which what we would call in the U.S. an efficiency, or like a studio apartment. And she came in, and once she had acquired a place to build, then had a place, didn't have to rent it, So then that is key to repatriation, moving, and also trying to move anywhere is to get your own place so that you can cut out some of the expenses or minimize the expenses, lodging being one of them. So, if you could build an efficiency at at a good price and a low risk, I would say. I've used my mother's plan that she developed for her own repatriation, and I use it and also as to inspire and also teach others how to come into Ghana or into any African nation, as a matter of fact, and use natural materials, which she did. She used the natural blocks to build, and she has a little building there, and then begin to expand on it, which now is 3 dwellings. And you can visit those places on my business Facebook page called Brenda TA. That's Brenda's house in Tree. So it's Brenda, BREAFIE, Brenda.
If you get a chance, please share that link to the group, if you will, please.
Yeah, sure, I'll do that.
Yeah.
And it's that's the place what I use for, like I said, transitional housing. It's something that she built for that particular purpose, was for people to assist people when they move to Ghana, move to specifically that community, but anywhere in the area, and need a place where you be in a community around other people and have an opportunity to have a little peace of mind about your things. And that was something that I began doing around about 2019. I would say maybe 2020. I began to do that. But as far as Born Again Africa, we started this project in 2013. We started the business here in 2013.
Okay. Well, I read information about you, bits and parts. You've had an exciting, I would say, career so far. But what are your inspiration? Obviously, is your mom. But prior to moving to Ghana, becoming a full-time citizen of the nation there, what type of business were you in America that projected you to go into do what you're doing now? Were you an entrepreneur in America, or that skill set just developed itself once you moved to Ghana?
Well, my father always instilled in my brother, my sister, and myself that we should always be in business for ourselves. So I've always been kind of working toward being in business for myself. Through my mother and my other siblings, we have also established businesses together in Virginia, from clothing stores, a clothing store that we had in Virginia Beach, Virginia. And my mother, she flipped houses in Virginia as well. So that was another business that she had established there. And she did that and established herself. And that's even how I got my introduction into it, and doing a lot of my own maintenance and those kind of things. When you own your own property, it's cost effective if you know how to do DIY a lot of things, and that is do it yourself. So, I gained a lot of my experience and knowledge from my mother, but I also worked in as a merchant seaman back in 1998 to like 2001. I worked as a merchant seaman, and I was an able-bodied seaman, and I got opportunity to travel all around the world. At the time, I was attending Norfolk State University, and then as a biology student, and then an opportunity came where I could travel around the world, and it was always a dream of mine to do that. So when that opportunity presented itself, I jumped right on it and traveled as an able-bodied seaman, and it really gave me the muscles and the strength, the courage, to go around the world by myself, not in any uniform like that, and have the experience of meeting. I've been to Korea, to South Korea, Indonesia, Singapore. I've been to Europe, as far as Germany, France, England, Belgium. I've been to Dubai, and I've been to also Egypt, and I settled in Ghana. So, I stopped sailing around about 2001, and then I went back and finished my degree from St. Leo University. So I finished that in 2007. And how I became introduced into Ghana was through this program that I joined called the Dessert Club out of Philadelphia. At the time, Brother Ali Saladin was also, he and his wife Sharon had organized something called the Dessert Club, which was a 2-year program for a free trip to Egypt, also known as Kemet, to go there and I went as a mentor. It was actually the goal of the group was to carry 500 mentors and 1,000 students. And I think we were about maybe 400, 500 when we went there in total number when we went to Egypt, and that was in 2006. But it was a completion of a 2-year program that we had an opportunity to travel all around the United States and also Canada before going to and completing some course pack created by Dr. Robinson on the book called the Songhai Empire. It was a very, very great thing to be a part of, and I'm very proud of to even now look back just as we were doing this, creating the what I want to talk about. I began to reflect on some of the things that that have kind of led up to where I am now. That was one of the I would say transitional things in my life, going to Egypt and going to Kemet, and also seeing a lot of those things firsthand. I learned about a lot of videos and through also lectures in Virginia at Norfolk State University, as well as just all around the community there. As my mother, myself, my brother, who are all involved in the conscious community in Norfolk, Virginia, or the 7 cities there, Tidewater, Virginia. So we were part of a lot of that community. So I had an opportunity to meet Dr. Leonard Jeffries, Dr. Khalid Muhammad, so many of the scholars, even on the trip to Kemet with the Dessert Club, it was Dr. Anoka Rashidi who led the lectures within all the temples in the museum. It's a fascinating thing. And that was a big transition, like I said, for myself, and also building the muscles to eventually repatriate. I was raised and my mother and father were in the Nation of Islam in New York City, and Minister Farrakhan was our minister there. But I was only just about 5 years old when we left New York for Virginia, and I grew up in Virginia, Virginia Beach, Pacific.
Well, wonderful. By the way, I have two family members that are seamen, so I know what you're talking about. Their journeys they've shared with me. And it wasn't through the military, but as yourself, they were seamen as well. So you've had an extraordinary life compared to the normal life people live. This morning, I read an article, a gentleman who was living in Ghana, and he decided to move back to America. One of our members posted it out. Whatever the circumstances was that led him to go back to America, he did not state that in his article. But since you've been living in Ghana for quite some time now, and congratulations, you have two beautiful kids, and the third baby, has that baby come forth? You got a baby on the way
He or she will come this week.
this week.
He or she will come this week.
Well,
Yeah.
bless you, man. Have you found in your living experiences that I don't think I want to stay here for the rest of my life, or I'm okay? What are the circumstances you find yourself in now as you appraise where you are, what you're doing, and how satisfied you are with what you're doing and where you are, et cetera? Are you still okay with living in Ghana? I guess is the question I want to ask.
Okay. Well, let me say I moved to Ghana when I was 35 years of age. I had accomplished my bachelor's degree, and I had also accomplished a lot of other things in life. So, as far as a bucket list was concerned, I had marked a lot of things off. So in 2009, I wasn't necessarily thinking of moving to Ghana, and my plan wasn't to live here and extend it as I have. Uh, when I came, my intention was really to help my mother establish some businesses and also to secure her transition. And through that process, we started some businesses that became successful and showed the potential. And in the same light, I also met my wife and began to become as acclimated as I am to Ghana now. In terms of where I am and where I would like to be, that is a continuation. Yes, I have a goal in mind where I want to be materialistically, but in terms of spirituality and just happiness, I'm overachieving it. In terms of attaining the goals I set out for myself, I've already done them. So now, for me, and when I say that, I wanted to be somebody that people in the community looked up to. I wanted to be somebody that a good father, a good husband. Those are the things I set out to do. At the same time, I want to make $1 billion. And sometimes it doesn't always add up that way. So, I'm still working toward it, and I'm also working on the business that I have. As an entrepreneur, I haven't worked for anybody in over 10 years. So, you know, let me say the rhythm of being an entrepreneur and the rhythm of working for somebody, they're two totally different lives you be living. Myself I won't say for 35 years, but 17 or 18 years, 16 or 18 years, I worked for somebody in a number of capacities. But for the past 12 years, I've been working for myself or working for my family business. And there's a great uh, freedom, let me say, that I feel that I have that I don't think I would have if I even came back to the United States to try to work for anybody. You know, it's just different.
Oh, wonderful. Now, tell me something. How did you decide of all the opportunities that are there to go into developing your own restaurant successfully as you've done? What gives you a thought that that was the right business to go into? And I ask so because I understand in most African nations, there are a lot of street food vendors you're competing against, and then established restaurants that are already there. But you found a niche within that in that concept, right?
Yes. Let me say, uh, restaurant business is a tough business. And you're right. There's absolute a lot of competition, and I'm not in the city, but I think if I was in the city, I would do better numbers because it'd be more of a diverse community. Uh, our community is still developing in terms of becoming more diverse. Here we have the Akwamu, who are our cons, and we also have Eways from a number of different parts of the Volta region. We also have Krobos. And each particular ethnic group with their own specific diet. Some of them like okra soup and wakale. Some like fufu and soup. And some like, so as I decided to um, take it, use it, goes for the niche in the African American soul food restaurant. Because number one, a lot of the businesses here are named God's Only Chop Bar, or those type of religious names were some of the things that we had noticed in Ghana. A lot of God's Only Wood Shop, these kind of places like that. So I thought, man, well, nobody's using soul food, so I just thought, why don't we just add soul food to it, and we'll sell an African American style of food, which let me say, our fried chicken and our fried fish is delicious anywhere on planet Earth. So I can take my chicken or my fried fish anywhere and compete with it. So that's how I feel about it. As well with my wife, Jeanette Jeanette Agbenyo Muhammad, she also prepares the local dishes. She happens to be in Ewe, but she prepares all of the local Ghanaian dishes very well. So when we initially began, it was as just a chop bar under some palm frond back at Fihankra in 2012. So we established something small there, and then just expanded on it, and I decided that we should marry the menu in terms of African American soul food and Ghanaian soul food. So on our menu, we have baku and tilapia, as well as chicken waffles. So we just have mixed the menu up so that we can also offer a different thing. We also, when we fry the chicken, we fry it in our style of way of battered fried chicken, which is not common here. We also do a cornflour battered lava fish. And I've just mixed some of the dishes together that I thought would pair nicely. And we've been received well in the community. We also get patronized, people come around and ask specifically for things. But we also get a lot of African Americans that are passing through, on their tours. We host sometimes tours. We don't get a chance to do some of our big stars of African American soul food, because that is macaroni and cheese and some of those things, because Ghanaians have their own palate. So we do prepare some of those things for buffet. Let's say maybe there's a African American marrying a Ghanaian brother or sister, and they want to introduce or have a mix of a menu. they can come to Born Again Africa, and we'll give a little bit of African American soul food as well as some of the Ghanaian soul foods as well. That is fufu and light soup, okra soup, kinke, guacamole, monkey, many of those other, and several of the other soups, almond soup, groundnut soup, red plant, fried plantain, and kutumre, palava sauce, excuse me. But we grow a lot of our own vegetables here. We also have, in our large garden down there, we also do a lot of garden to table. So we grow a lot of the things that we also use in our kitchen. So even now, I'm in the thinking process of expanding the garden area so that we just don't grow grass, but we also are growing some food.
You know,
That
yeah,
was one of the visions that we had. Also being here.
yeah, fascinating. When I lived in DC, I lived in the area. I stayed with a guy that was from Ghana, and I would cook the food that I was accustomed to cooking, and he would cook his food. And there were vast differences in how he prepared his food. A lot of it a pepper and kind of spicy food, but the tastes were very distinguishable. And I think they use a lot of okra in some instances in their dishes. But you know, having not lived in the country, and then sometimes I think because we live here in America, we think everybody eats the same kinds of food and it's prepared the same way. But it is not, and the differences are to be appreciated. So you found your niche into the restaurant business as you are now, and look like you're growing. And what do you see yourself going into the future? Will you stay in that business, or will you marinate it as you are doing, or look at expanding to reach that $1 million goal that you set for yourself?
Well, I thank you. Well, what we've done is when we got the large, this is about 4.5 plots, about roughly 1 acre. So, we have consumed just a portion of the land. And like I said, we're at a great vantage point along the roadside. So I'm also have a 40-foot container at the opposite end of the land on the roadside that I've been renting out. And I've even rented it out recently to an African American brother who's coming to establish his own business. And this is something that a vision that we had, to not that it's just been evolving. Initially my mother came in, she wanted to do an entertainment business as a roller skating ring. So when that vision wasn't able to manifest as she had envisioned, at our vantage point, when we got this location, I also began to observe the place and see what was needed in the area. And one of the first businesses that we opened up here before the restaurant was the public toilet. I would sit at the roadside here and observe many buses and things people would get down and looking, young ladies, 25, grandmother age, looking for a place to ease themselves and not having a proper or place for to go. So I said, oh, let's put in a public restroom, and then we add the food to it. So when we began to establish the restroom, we had a chance to get a biogas system. So we installed a biogas system in so that we would be able to get gas in the future. So, and that was back in 2013 or 2012. We installed the biogas system and then put a platform in, and then we came here under a canopy. And my wife and I, we would set up, pack the food to the house and bring it back, go back and forth. We just started out really, really very humbly, and then it has, now kind of grown into a rest stop. As we begin to establish here, other businesses begin to come around us, even to establish, other Ghanaian businesses begin to come around us. So then, now the place has become like a town, So I'm hoping that we become a major rest stop.
Beautiful. Inflation is impacted every nation on the earth, and I understand Ghana has some of the issues there as well. Has that impacted your business right now, or with the food is a necessity that everybody will and should eat? Have you saw that your business kind of curved downward because of the inflation issue, or are you still okay?
Okay.
Are you there?
Sorry, so it looked like we had interruptions.
No. Has the inflation impacted your business as it is now, or things are still steady as they were?
Your fan is not moving. Okay, your fan is moving.
Okay, we're having some connection problems. But well, look, is there any way that you can take your camera, or can you walk around, kind of show us your restaurant? Is that possible? Take us for a tour so we can kind of see the inside of your facility there. Yazid, are you still there? Oh, thank you. I can see now.
This is the inside of the restaurant.
Okay. Oh, beautiful.
I'm making some chairs.
Okay.
This is the upstairs.
Okay.
This is the roadside level. The
Beautiful.
roadside level and upstairs.
Do you have live bands performing at your restaurant from time to time? Yazid?
Now that we are coming out of the COVID, everything, these are some of the things that we are also coming to do. But I've had bands here before. As a matter of fact, we are looking for investors to come in and maybe go into the aquatic sports with us so that we can develop the riverside and go into that aspect of our business here.
So that's great, like a
It's not-
theme park? I think we may have lost you momentarily.
I think he's muted.
Yeah.
Yazid, it looks like you're on mute.
You have muted your mic, Yazid.
Yeah, I think I silenced it. I have.
Okay. Well, look, let me give a special thank to Rose from Kenya. She's in our meeting. Rose, I see you. Hello. How are you doing tonight? And Sarah in Gambia. And we had Dr. Cook in earlier from the Carolinas. And I don't know if she dropped off or not, but we are being telecast live into the Facebook environment. So there's other people hopefully watching this. Do you guys have any questions, Sarah or Rose, for our presenter today? Yazid, do you guys have questions to ask?
I have a question. In the startup phase, how big of a space did you use to start to open a restaurant? Was it like a 20 by 20? Yes. Was it like 20 by 20, like the space that you initially used? And then also for what you called the efficiency apartment. How big of a space did you use for that
I
to
see.
create the
Okay. Well, the restaurant floor is 20 feet by 40 feet.
You said how much?
Did you hear me? The restaurant floor is 20 feet. The
It's 20 by
outside,
42. The restaurant right now.
yes. But we also
Okay.
have downstairs part of the structure. It's actually 3 levels,
Okay.
but the whole structure, each floor is about 20 by 40, 40 feet wide, roughly, 10 to 20 feet diameter. So we also have, like I said, a public restroom as well, just that's adjacent to the building.
Mhm.
I'm upstairs on the dining floor recording, so maybe you hear some people in the background. There's
Okay.
some young men
Another
are coming
question
inside.
I have is because I'm a Philly native, that program that you brought into the budget, we had the opportunity to travel and teach. Is that still going on? Is that ongoing, or has that ended?
I didn't hear everything you said. Can you say it again?
The program in Philadelphia, I forgot the name of the program. Maybe you can send it to me in a record. But is that something that has continued over the years? Does it still exist?
Which, which program is that?
It was the one to travel to the U.S. and also travel
You
like
talking about the dessert club?
yeah.
Yeah, well, they have a Facebook page called African Genesis, which you can check
African
online.
Okay. I have a son that lives in Philadelphia. I will definitely ask him to join the page.
Okay. Yes, we wanted to, because the people who started it up, it's Brother Ali Saudin. He recently passed on about a year ago, but I think his wife and them, they are part of it. And we still continuing on doing it. Even recently they came to Ghana, I think during the year of return, or the year
Okay.
return, or shortly after. Yeah, so you had asked me about how I see the place going. As I would like to see this place become a rest stop that's recognizable around Ghana, as well as develop the roadside here and have business opportunity for create business opportunities for others to come in and rent space and do their own business, as well as we hope to develop some hotel here to become like a resort where we can exploit the riverside as well as our beautiful garden and also develop rooms. So we are fortunate to be positioned in the right location, and then God's grace will have the right develop at the right time. So if we get the right investor who might also take us to the next level, we also open to that opportunity. So not only that, but I also create a product here called Christian Salvation, where we taken some of the locally grown products and created our own product that we back package and sell, produce, package and sell. So and it does something. There's something that does very good for us. Christian cassava chips. I recently registered a business. I want to register with the standing board and do it all the way official. Then we can also put it in some of the stores. But, that's the next phase that we are trying to go into as far as expanding what we're doing on an entrepreneurial level. It's something else that we've been doing it for the past about 9 years. But I think it's maybe, I'd like to see it step up to the next level and get it into more hands. my issue with the cassava chips is not my demand, it's the supply. So, I think it's a good way to go. So that is another business that we have also entered into in the terms of long term, as well as me using my experience over the past years here to also assist others through my business, through my real repatriation consultation business, where I assist others in starting their own business or moving into Ghana, or even as far as relationships are concerned. Since 2019, there's been a great uptick in African diaspora relationships, and a lot of it is based online. Unfortunately, a lot of people have been taken advantage of. So I created a service in 2021 called Ghana Background Checks, where maybe a sister from the U.S. You met a brother online. He wants to fall in love with you, and he wants to tell you, you want to verify some of the things he's telling you. He said. And I have a service. I provide a service where we go and check the person up, and it's not something that's uncommon. It's just I kind of because we coming from the African Americans, those as well from the diaspora, we really don't have an understanding of some of the traditional values of some of these things that may be lost to us in the United States now, or maybe different parts of the diaspora, where in terms of, individuals don't marry, families. So, there's also a process in that marriage, not that you just met somebody in the city, you don't want your mama and them to know about it, and you secretly marry. And it's a huge investment you're making as an African diasporan, coming to marry in an African country or anywhere, as a matter of fact, because you choose to move that person back to the United States. The responsibility is different from a Ghanaian marrying an African American, or marrying a Ghanaian and moving them into the United States. It's just a different responsibility altogether in terms of immigration. So those are some of the business I'm working on.
I just want to reiterate, if I haven't said it earlier, I truly admire your tenacity. To start a business is one thing, but to have a continuation, yeah, but to have a continuation year after year after year, it means that you are always thinking ahead of where you are, planning to get even much further than where you have advanced. So I congratulate you, because I know it's a very tough thing to create a business that's sustainable and also provide you to live the life that you choose to live. So my congratulations. A couple of questions I do have. Number one is, what is the capacity of your restaurant? What is the full crowd? And how many, I would assume if you get a full crowd, you properly staff to accommodate 100 people, if that will be the case. That's one question. And the other question I would like to ask is about investors. Are you looking for multiple investors? And what is an amount that you would ask someone to come into your business to invest, if you have predetermined amounts for an investor? So 2 questions there.
Okay, well, then the restaurant floor is I've held about 60 to 80 people here for different programs here on the restaurant floor. Sometimes children, sometimes adults. I hosted one year we did African Unity Day, and let me say in the garden area, we also have a bar downstairs where and a couple of summer huts and maybe about 60 chairs, iron chairs. Sometimes I go and rent chairs. So, but for capacity, maybe that place can hold 500 people or more. It's a very sprawled out area in the garden that is manicured and kept cut and that sort of thing. And for the investors, maybe that's something we can discuss offline.
Makes sense.
So that if those that are seriously interested in being an investor in what I'm doing, then we can make a scheduled time to sit down and talk about that. So that like I said, that is part of some of the services that I offer in terms of those that are looking for investment opportunities. What through my consultations, what I've told people is suggested to people is that you look for somebody on the ground that's already kind of doing a business that you want to support, or one that you're already doing. Sometimes how should I say? Because of the two different cultures, coming to do business together. Sometimes it doesn't always work out the way. Sometimes we have different vision. And now I think that goes with any type of partnership. Things should be laid out very well. This is what I want. This is what I plan. This is what I want to do. And then you have a collective agreement on about what you want. So sometimes we in the diaspora we want to do a business in Ghana, but we don't know exactly what to do or what business should we get involved in. And there's some specific sectors in Ghana to get yourself involved in. Number one is tourism, which is a growing business. Maybe 1A or one is agriculture, as well as logistics. And then then there's a gamut of other businesses in between there. So you have to also come in and see what you can do. This restaurant business wasn't the first business that we started. It was a computer training school, and then it was a block factory and a computer training school. What I found was in
You must have a time delay.
I have to go because
I got you.
I'm going to start in okay.
Yeah, I got you. We have another
Right,
guest
yeah.
that's come in, Miss MIST. Hello.
Yes,
Okay.
yes. Hi, how are
Hi.
you?
I don't have your
Freedom.
name, just it says Miss.
Miss, yes. I'm Yazid's sister, Miss Muhammad.
Oh, okay. Wow, your sister's in.
Yeah.
Are you in
Yeah.
Ghana as well?
No, I'm in New York. I literally just got the invite from him.
Oh,
I'm on my way to the gym. I'm in the parking lot. I said, I said let me jump in. I had no idea that this was going on. Yazid just sent it to me like a few minutes ago.
well, congratulations and welcome to your brother. He's done a great presentation about his business over there in Ghana. And I would assume you've already been there?
Oh yeah, many times. Many times. I was just there in February.
Wow.
I was just there in February. Yeah, I go to visit my family. Yeah, Yazid and his family. And this year I actually brought a tour with me of some people that wanted to go and tour the Volta region, the Cape Coast region. Yeah, so it was a 10-day tour, and then I spent the rest of the time with my family.
Beautiful. Well,
Yeah.
I'm excited to come into the company of Yazid and meet him as we kind of linked ourselves. He's a member of the group that I formed, and I'm grateful. And he's making significant contribution. And part of what I try to do is to make sure that we know each other, we learn each other, because history tells me that we've been separated for 400 or 500 years. And there's so much beauty within us when we come together to see each other and relink those kindles that we've had in our past. But I thank you for coming in and accepting your brother invite. So Yazid, I'm not trying to take the credit from you, brother.
Oh no, this is my beautiful sister.
Okay, that I do agree
My
1000%.
oldest,
Thank
she's
you.
my older sister.
Oh, that's your older
This
sister?
is my oldest. Yeah.
Oh my
Oldest
goodness.
and only.
Of all.
Oldest and only sister.
Wow. Well, wonderful then.
So
And
she's-
you have brothers too, right? I think you acknowledged earlier.
Yes, I have two brothers, one in Georgia. both of them named Michael.
What part of Georgia does he live in?
Uh, is it Macon, Georgia?
Athens,
Athens,
Georgia.
yeah. Yeah, I'm quite familiar with
Yeah.
that. Yeah, I live in Douglasville, Georgia, which is sort of a little north of where your brother lives. Okay, so your mom and dad got kids all over the planet then, right? In many ways.
Now they do. now they do. Grandchildren.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, yeah. You know, my sister's been a great supporter of my mother's vision. It's a shared vision. Let's say we've all been a part of it. And,
Right.
like my mother passed on in 2018, and we all became part of this. So you know, she's been a great supporter and a follower, also in what we have been doing, and also blazing our own path. She's into African spirituality. And,
Oh, wow.
these are some of the things, not just part of, I'm not unique to my family. You know, my brother is a Babalao in the Yoruba tradition. And my sister, she's also in her own lane, creating her own space. Even with creating the tours, bringing tours to Ghana in terms of doing a yoga retreat and those kind of things. It's just, I would say, we are a reflection of our mother and father.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Well, the mere fact that you mentioned you studied, you went to Egypt several times, and I'm now learning a lot of the stuff that the history that was written and recorded is not true. It was done to favor a certain group of people, and that's terrible when you realize the real truth and you begin to learn it. It's something really revealing, but I don't want to get too much into that. But I'm grateful for you to host what you're doing for us, those who are watching, hopefully live in our Facebook group, so we can learn more about the uniqueness of the continent of Africa, your experience there, your success, your family as it grows and come along, and your mind has incredible, you've been tapped to not have limits. If that makes sense. Some people get very limited how they see the world, how they see themselves, and thereby their progress is stumbled by such way of thinking. And your mom has instilled something valuable in you, and I'm glad to see that you've allowed it to come out and do as it is doing. And also, I would assume that your kids are going to be inspired by you. So that meant that your mom will continue to grow and foster into your family tree. But I'm grateful for you taking your time out with us today and to share your experiences. And hopefully those who've listened will get some insights, and maybe you'll see me at your restaurant one day.
Yeah, I hope so.
Yeah, I would love, I haven't been able to get myself positioned there yet, but I would love to travel to the continent. It's so beautiful, so many unique places. So hopefully one day that's on my itinerary. Such is the case, I'm knocking at your door, okay?
Oh, and I appreciate that. And, that's kind of where we also are trying to establish ourselves as a hub for African diasporans that come to Ghana. If they come into the Eastern region or come into the Volta region, you'll pass our place. If you come to the Adomi Bridge or Akasumba, you'll be in that area. Come and snap a picture with the brother. Have a bite of fried chicken or have a drink or come to patronize it, support it any way you can.
I'm sure
As well, we I wanted to mention that we had, as we wanted to establish an entertainment center, we put up a park and playground for children. So we also, take donations through our, it's called Ya Brenda's African Angels, which was her vision as an entertainment center to have a healthy place, a safe place for youth to come and play and have a good time. So, we named the park now Brenda's African Angel. But it was something that we had been developing a part of the business. But when COVID came in, it really disrupted everything, that we were doing. So we've been trying to refurbish a lot of the things that we have. But we set up something where we could accept donations at our GoFundMe page. Those, find it in their heart to sponsor some of the children that will come to the park and play. or even if you want to just, sponsor in such a way where we also expanded some of the games that we are familiar with and play. I have a cousin that plays professional basketball in Israel. I hope that he would come here and establish a basketball court. And, so we just, make it a big, we're also introducing ourselves into the community, the larger community. So it's not just a place for us or the Muhammad family, but it's also a place where, we'd like to be a launching pad for so many other African diasporas when they come in.
Well,
And
beautiful.
thank you for creating a place for us, a platform to also market our businesses and services. Really appreciate it. Thank you very much. And I also look forward to meeting you in person. Come
Thank
over
you.
and
We can
hang
set
out
that.
and kick it.
Do you have sweet potato pie by any chance on your menu? If not, you're gonna put that on there, right?
I don't have sweet potato pie.
Oh, man, come on.
He can put it though.
Okay, okay.
Yazid is an excellent cook. He's an excellent cook.
Oh, so that's the inspiration then. Okay, great. Pound cakes and all that kind of stuff comes along with that as well. I'm a sweet eater, but I can't deny that. By the way, I appreciate your interest in the clocks that we're developing. We hope to get those out. We think there's a market for it to spread unique awareness of our ancestors, the 1.8 million that died cast on the side of ships during the transatlantic slave trade. So I think the world, in many instances, has forgotten about their sacrifice that they made, being placed into slavery and then dying on the process of traveling on their journeys. And so that clock, those clocks that we created, I think you've expressed interest and I appreciate that. If you can help me to promote that, I would love your help, okay?
Yes, I would love to do that for you. Also, if possible, put some in a memorabilia shop here at our business. So we can also get it out to people when they come around. People want something that they can carry with them. I wanted to mention one other thing, if I may, about how I also, part of the services that I provided, how I've had to expand myself and also be flexible when I'm doing it. A lot of repatriates, young people, and older people, retired people, they also want to move to the United States, but there's a big question among them about how to earn an income, how to sustain yourself. Maybe you will start a business, a brick and mortar business, but sometimes those businesses take time to really become established. So there's something that's also called, that I became a part of, called through Sister Verdell Caps, and that is her business of teaching English as a foreign language. Emerging English is the name of her Facebook page. And if you're looking for a way to earn dollars at the same time while living in Ghana, this is a great opportunity for anybody wanting to do that. I teach English online as well, a few 1 hour a day out of the week, and it really helps to stabilize, and have an income that you can depend on. So sometimes, as an entrepreneur, sometimes the business is there, sometimes it's not. During COVID, the president asked all of us to close our business.
Multiple streams of income. Got you. Yeah. As a matter of fact, we got a young lady that lives in Kenya. She's going to start teaching Swahili, which I think is a beautiful language. Countries are speaking that language. I know Ghana has its unique languages that they speak there. But, the thing is to make the languages of Africa not be so unfamiliar, but to get familiar with, because that's a challenge for many of us. Some of the beautiful names that you mentioned earlier, I was like, how do you know all those beautiful Ghana names, which I can't pronounce, but it's because I'm not familiar with them, nor have I heard them. But once you hear something, you get familiar with it, it becomes easy to articulate it back. But listen, I think we got a lot of wonderful things that we can do and continue to do. And I love how you are building your concepts and with no end in sight. So we'll do what we can together. Okay, if you don't mind.
I appreciate that.
Okay. And to your wonderful sister, I thank her for coming in, taking your invite. I know she has to go and work out, which is something I need to do today at the gym. Trust me.
Thank you for having me. And can I just add that next year? So my mother's vision for me, being that I live in the U.S., was to build a bridge to those who want to come to Ghana and experience Ghana in such a way. I've always had friends that wanted to come with me, but because I'm, going to visit my family, I can't give them the experience that they would really want to have because I'm with my family and they're going to want to do other things. So that's the reason why I created the tours. And next year in March, a friend of mine who is a yoga instructor, I do a lot of meditation. We collaborated together and we decided to put together a trip to Ghana for 7 days for a meditation yoga retreat. So people can come and just have that experience, just connecting, because nature there is so plentiful and it's just so beautiful. And it's not too far from Born Again Soul Food African Restaurant, Yazid's business. That's how beautiful the area is. So I just wanted to just put that out there. Anyone that may be interested in coming to the meditation yoga retreat next year in March.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
I'll share the flyer.
Are you in the group exploring the continent of Africa? I don't know if you are. Just asking.
No, I'm not. I'm
Okay.
not. But I would love to be in the group. Please,
Okay.
add me, or see how I can add myself.
Yazid, can you send her an invite, your sister? That would be beautiful. And by the way, I would like to make you aware that we have some fascinating members that you can connect with. One of our outstanding members, Stacy Scott Masaki. She lives in Tanzania. And some of the things that you're talking about, maybe you might want to expand into other areas, not going Ghana, but there's other countries to go into that you can link with some of the other members. And you'll find that you might have lack interests that you guys can work on in terms of developing trips. She has her own personal place that she has developed. And Yazid, you need to meet her as well. And also, Yazid, I'm going to introduce you to Professor D. He lives in Uganda. Extraordinary man,
wow.
brilliant, just like yourself. And so the more we connect our family, the more interests we can find out that we have in common, and the more ways we can help each other to grow and prosper. Okay? So listen.
Good. Yeah, I would love that.
So if you don't mind, we're going to conclude our live meeting for our first live telecast. I hope that we've had people to come in. If not, just momentarily take a look at what your life experiences are in Ghana, and hopefully it will inspire others to see that there's a vision that they can realize through leadership like yourself and for what your mother instilled in you guys. And I'm grateful. So I'm going to cut the live off. Hold on just a second. So to everyone who joined us, I thank you, and we will be doing other meetings in the future.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Now, Yazid, I'm going to cut the recording off right now too. So we'll stop that action.